Having two young people murdered in high school is appropriate. And I want to break off here to remind you folks that the movies Rambo were not patterned after Bobo Grits. I talked to the people who wrote the scripts of those movies. I know where the stories came from. Had nothing to do with Bobo Grits, in fact. And if you saw any of the Rambo movies, Rambo was an enlisted man. And if you have any brains at all, you saw that the colonel was the bad guy. The colonel was the bad guy who betrayed his own men, time after movie after movie. Rambo was an enlisted man. In his first movie, he suffered from post-traumatic delayed stress syndrome. Bobo Grits is a lieutenant colonel. If the movies Rambo were patterned after Bobo Grits, then he is indeed the bad guy. How do you like that, you Bobo heads? See, Rush Limbaugh has his ditto heads, and Bobo Grits has his Bobo heads. I continue, Mr. Speaker, it means that we are one step closer to the collapse of civilization. Now he's saying that the entire civilization is going to collapse if he doesn't pass this resolution repealing the Second Article Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America. Now, do you know why socialism sucks? It's because socialists suck. They're very, very deceptive people. Almost every other word out of their life is a lie. And yes, I meant what I said, out of their life. Life, folks. Not mouth, life. One step closer to the collapse of our society, and I tell you that the moment the guns disappear from the hands of Americans, that will signal the collapse of our society and the rise of a one-world totalitarian socialist government who will bring the Grim Reaper across the land. And if you think Stalin murdered a lot of people, you just wait and see what these people have in store for you. He says, what will happen next? We will have young people carrying guns into churches and murdering people in churches. It would be another step closer to the collapse of civilization as we know it. Well, the facts are, folks, is these people went down to a church and killed all the young people who didn't have any guns. Simply because their parents legally owned weapons, the right of which is guaranteed by the Second Article in Amendment to the Constitution. I'm talking about the massacre that occurred in Waco, Texas, conducted by world socialism. What are we doing to protect our youth from senseless killing? What are we doing as adults, as parents? And most important, those people who are most responsible for how our society works. What are we doing as legislators? What an ego. He really believes that he's most responsible for how our society works, folks. The truth is the legislature is the most responsible for the destruction of our society in recent years. It has not been fulfilling its mandate. They're not reflecting the desires of their peers. Isn't this amazing? Are we doing all we can? Or are we whippishly bowing to a gun lobby and not a committee? Civilized actions to be taken in order to control this manufacture, the sale, and distribution of guns. What is different? What is the difference between our society and other industrialized societies? Well, Mr. Oh my God, what an invitation. Mr. Owen, this is incredible. You don't know the difference between our society and other industrialized societies? Is that why you're trying so quickly to destroy it? You don't understand that our society was the biggest, the best, the most promising, gave us the most opportunity. We had the most freedom. We were the most affluent in the entire world, possessed the greatest technology and the penultimate of the military might that will exist on the face of this earth, and you are asking what is the difference between our society and other industrialized societies? Who are the fools, Mr. Owens, who sent you to Congress? You see, it really isn't your fault. Somebody mistook you for someone with some brains, instead of recognizing you for the mental patient that you should be. And what are you people in New York doing about this twit? Or do you care? Do you even understand what's happening? Do you realize that if everybody in New York City carried a gun, the crime statistics would drop overnight and there would not be another citizen killed by one of these creeps? No. No, that's attributing too much reasoning power to the sheeple. The truth is, the only places where these things continuously occur are where the criminals know that the citizens do not possess weapons. The highest crime statistics in the country are in the places where they have the tightest, most restrictive gun laws, and where they have legislation which prohibits the ownership of any type of firearms. The crime rate is out of sight.
Ladies and gentlemen, I must interject something here in light of the recent happenings in Littleton, Colorado. One teacher was murdered in that shooting spree. He was the coach. The coach did everything he could to protect the students except shoot the assailants, because the coach did not have a weapon. If the coach had a weapon, and being the coach, he probably would have been quite expert with the use of that weapon. In fact, I would venture to say that the coach was probably a hunter. I don't know this for sure, but he probably owned weapons of his own. Now, if this turns out not to be true, nevertheless, it does not counteract the truth of the matter. If the coach had a concealed weapon permit, or if he just had a concealed weapon, because under the second article in amendment, permits are not required, he could have shot the two assailants and saved a lot of lives, including his own. Now, I don't care what all these liberal, anti-gun fools say in answer to this. The truth is, if the teachers had guns, this tragedy would not have happened. If the teachers had guns, if they knew how to use them, this tragedy would not have happened. That's the truth. And you can explain it away any way you want to. It will always be the truth. And nothing will ever change the truth. Exceeds any other city, county, or state in this nation. I'm talking, Mr. Owens, about the city where you live, Washington, D.C., where you have passed just such legislation, taking the guns away from the people because they have no rights under the Constitution. And we can all see that it doesn't work. Let's hear the stupid sheeple cry to have the guns taken off the streets, believing that this is going to solve our problems. No, folks. Holding parents responsible and accountable would begin to solve our problems. Restoring discipline to the schools would just be a beginning to solving our problems. You're listening to The Hour of the Time. I'm Maria Cooper.
And he goes on to say, Japan or Germany or Great Britain or France. Why is it these industrialized societies have a far lower set of casualties as a result of gunplay? Why is it that it goes way, way down, the comparisons with Great Britain and Germany and Japan? Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's no comparison. You see, they've taken the authority of the way from the parents in this country and out of the schools. If you go to Japan, Germany, or Great Britain, or France, you will see that the children receive the proper discipline in the home and in the school. And in Japan, discipline, folks, is more than a way of life. It is almost a religion.